Something could happen on this show. You never can tell.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Show with Pam and Joe. I'm Joe Farina. And before I introduce our lovely co-host and our next guest, I just want to remind everybody out there to check out dickbiondifilm.com, like the Dick Biondi Film Facebook page, and join the Dick Biondi Film Facebook group. It's great to be here with everybody. I'm going to turn it over now to my lovely co-host, Pam. Hello, Pam.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You look great, as usual.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So tonight we have a very special guest and somebody that we are just so honored to have because we've never really had a chance to talk to Jim PIlster from the Cryan Shames, and we have him with us tonight. So without further ado, let us introduce Jim PIlster.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. It's nothing I'd rather do since it's too hot to golf. Now, clothing is optional on these things, right?
Yeah. No. What am I saying? Yeah. No, it's not optional.
Well, a shirt is kind of, okay. Just checking.
So, Jim, you I remember back in the day listening to, because I was a big fan of the Cryan Shames.
Good girl.
Sugar and Spice was the song that, I just automatically, when I hear that song, I'm just like right back. So how did that song come about, and how did you, that was a big song for you guys, wasn't it?
Well, it was our first released recording, but originally, well, it goes back to us, Dex Card. Speaking of disc jockeys, he kind of found us, and we were playing one of his sock hops. And he introduced us to these agents, Jim Golden and Bob Monaco, MG Productions, and they asked us to do a recording, and they said they could get it on the air, and so we said sure, and we found this wonderful Beatles song on a British Beatles album that hadn't been released in the United States, and it was "If I Needed Someone."
Oh yeah.
It was written by George Harrison, and we recorded it, and we had it all ready to go, and they were plugging it with the disc jockeys and everything. And then the Beatles management said, no, you cannot release it in the United States because we have not released it in the United States.
Oh, I see.
So now they've already been talking us up to all the radio stations in the city. And at that time we had major radio stations. The AM dial was WLS and WCFL, and they went out 50,000 watts, clear channel. You could hear their stations. We heard it in Florida.
Sure.
But and in Texas and in Arizona.
Coast to coast.
And in Mexico, right.
Mm-hmm. And Canada.
So they said, you have to get another song right away. You have to get something so we could release it. So we were at a little coffee shop. It was called the CB, Coffee Break, in Elmhurst, and there was a band called the
Riddles. I used to go there all the time.
Did you really?
I did.
Did you really? The CB?
One of my hangouts.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And we'd go there too because they had live music, and there wasn't a lot of places that because we were like 18, 19, some of us 16.
Sure.
So there weren't a lot of places we could go. And we heard the Riddles playing, and we loved it. And then we took it, and Tom Duty changed the vocals around a little bit, and James Ferris changed the guitar parts, and and the modulations, instead of going down, it went up, and instead of going up, it went down or something. I don't know, but it worked. And
Boy, did it work.
Yeah, we went into the studio and had it in one day. And next thing we know, it's on the radio. And I'm walking around downtown with one of the Little Boy Blues, which was a band, and their lead singer and I. And all of a sudden, I'm listening to my transistor radio, and we're in Daily Plaza, and I go, "This is us! This is us!" I can't believe it. We jumped in the fountain there. We jumped into the fountain, and we're handing the radio back and forth. It was amazing, you know. And then one thing led to another, you know. And 55 or whatever years later, I think that was 1966.
Yeah, I think it
And
was. That's amazing. I love that. I just love to hear the reactions of the first time the band hears themselves on the radio.
On the radio, and
so
this kid was so happy for me. It was like, you know, I was supposed to be at college, but I blew it off, you know. And I don't have to do it. I'm on the radio.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, Sugar and Spice is such a classic song, and you know that guitar intro catches you right away. And it did have like and I assume that's James Ferris doing that, right?
It was James Ferris playing his Rickenbacker.
Yeah, it has that
jingle jangly kind of,
exactly.
Just
exactly.
like the Byrds were one of our favorite groups at the time. I mean, at that time we did 3 sets a night, and one was the Byrds, one was the Beatles, and one was the Stones. Real different, but a lot of singing, a lot of harmonies, even at that point.
Sure.
And then we started writing our own. James wrote a lot of them. And hey,
so what number did it get to in Chicago? That song.
That song probably got to be 4 or something. You know.
And nationally?
Nationally, well, it was on a local label. It was on the Destination label. If you would hold on, I'd take these off and go get the label and the record and show you. But
wow.
I haven't the other one. I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it made, I think, a top 50 something. You know,
it's really not
but
bad.
It was Destination record label. It was before they signed us to Columbia.
And what year did they sign you to Columbia? Was that 66 as well?
66 or 60, early 67.
Okay.
Yeah, we were the first group out of Chicago to sign a major label, which was Columbia.
Okay.
I mean, I remember our managers going, they can lose more records in their record club than the other labels can put out. So just let's join them. Yeah, they lose more records than the other labels sell. So and their record club at that time, they had the Columbia Record Club that everybody joined, and every month you got a record. If you didn't like it, you sent it back. It was amazing.
Yeah, I never did that myself. I didn't know about that. So.
And then Sony bought them. So.
Okay.
Eventually. So.
Jim, how did you end up joining the Cryan Shames? Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's pretty strange. First of all, I got one hand, so I don't really play instruments until I started playing percussion. And then
thank you so much.
So, you know, I just had a lot of energy as a little guy, 140 pounds or something. And I was like, I think 18-ish. And these guys, the Travelers, they were called. They played around the area, the western suburbs. They're almost all from the western suburbs, I think. Dave Purple was the bass player. He was from LaGrange. And Tom Duty was from Westmont. He was the lead singer. The drummer and James Ferris, the guitarist, were from Downers Grove, and they were both still in high school. And then the original founder of the group, the Travelers, was Jerry Stone, and he played rhythm guitar. And and he was from Hinsdale and I was from Hinsdale. And so, I don't know, they had a manager, quote unquote, he was a high school kid too. And he dragged me to see them a couple times, and I just jumped up on stage and started hitting tambourines and dancing around with Tom Duty, who was dancing around, and we were doing steps. And then next thing I know, my mom and I are screwing a hook in a dowel rod and and she made a little leather cover. And next thing I know, because it was hurting my arm to hit the tambourine on it, I was hitting the dowel rod, and I had a hook coming out. And that next thing I know, Dex Carter's calling us going, are you the guys with the hook? Yeah. He goes, well, I want you to play one of my, my sock hops, and I want to introduce you to some managers. And next thing I know, I'm part of the group, and I know that Fairs was going, what the hell is that doing up on our stage? I know it, and next thing I know, I'm part of the group.
Oh, that's pretty neat. I mean, I didn't know that.
And then we had so much energy between Tom and I. And
yeah. Did you know Tom? I mean, did you already know him, or did you just jumped up there? Oh,
yeah,
you are something else.
Story of my life, don't say no. My mom used to always tell me, anything they can do, you can do better.
Oh, good old mom.
Drove that in my head all this. And now I've had 4 hole-in-ones golfing. So,
wow. That's become,
so maybe,
yeah.
Maybe she was right.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Whatever, but that's kind of how it happened. I mean, we were playing at Elmhurst at the youth center. I remember climbing up on stage there, and it was packed solid,
Yeah.
You probably went there.
Oh, sure I did. Because I grew up in Villa Park.
Oh, yeah, right.
So this is my hood.
Okay.
And Dick Biondi, he used to come out to do some sock hops and stuff. I met Dick over in Hillside at the shopping center. That's where I first met him in '61.
We might have actually been there at that point.
Wow.
I remember playing Hillside. No. Yeah, we did a couple of things at Hillside.
For Dick?
I don't know. It's, my old
He used to get helicoptered around the city. Do you remember that?
No, he never took me.
Oh, no, I mean.
Larry Lujek and I drove to gigs together, but Dick never took me in his helicopter.
Well, I don't think he took anybody that I know of, but he was helicoptered around to his live performances, his personal appearances, I should say.
I was feeling sorry for the guy getting fired here and fired there.
He was a big star.
I know. Yeah. Apparently, he couldn't hang out with me.
Did you know him? You met him, right?
We met him.
You all met him.
Yeah. We did a lot of things with him and promotions and things.
Sure.
But Dick was always so genuine.
Oh God.
I mean, to this day, I'm sure. I haven't talked to him in a while. I hope he's doing well, really.
Yeah. I think I've heard he was doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. And
good.
And I just wanted to add, if I may, that how I became a fan of the Chicago group's oldies music was through Dick Biondi. My generation, I'm in my mid 40s, was listening to Dick on WJMK.
Right.
That's how I got to get to know great bands like the Cryan Shames, Buckingham's, and so forth. And I remember hearing your songs all the time on the radio, not only Sugar and Spice, but it could be We're in Love, which I think is just a magnificent song. And so Dick, to me, is almost like not only was he a DJ, but almost, and I said this before in a way, a historian. And I'm grateful that he also introduced me personally to bands like yours and Buckingham's and so forth, because I've become such a big fan of your music and your history.
You were a
over the years.
Chicago boy, weren't you, Joe?
I was born and raised in Chicago. I was raised
so.
in Northwest Side, Jefferson Park, most of my life. We moved around. You know, my dad was a policeman, and early when I was younger, we moved from apartment to apartment. But we were always on the Northwest Side, and then finally, my parents got a house in Jefferson Park around 74, 75, around there, and that's where I grew up and where I was raised. Yeah.
Oh, so we were so lucky. I mean, in a way, you know, we were the first Chicago band to sign a, you know, big contract and everything, but we had no places to play. Like right after we were done and the Buckinghams were done, and well, at least for that period of our lives, we were done. And the New Colony Six and Shadows of Night, there was no big barns, you know, there was no festivals. There were teen clubs, you know, and so it was the small money, but it was adulation. I mean, they loved us. We were right there in front of them. I mean,
So intimate.
Yeah.
So
right
intimate.
there.
It was unbelievable.
And the radio, we're in the middle of the country, and the radio goes all over, you know, and we had these two great stations, and they'd play our stuff.
Yes.
I mean, there was one time, I tell this story all the time, it was Lenny Curley's song, Mr. Unreliable. I'm pretty sure we were recording that in the city. This is before we signed with Columbia, or as we were making our first album, the Sugar and Spice album. It was, we had it all in the can before we signed with Columbia, and then they bought the album. And we recorded Mr. Unreliable, and we heard that song as we were driving out of the city on the Eisenhower. We heard it on the radio.
Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable.
Will never happen again.
No.
That kind of thing, because now it's got to go through New York where they program it and everything. But they brought it in, laid it down on Clark Weber's desk or something, and next thing we know, we're driving home and we're hearing the song. Really?
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
It will never happen. And I don't think it probably happens in any other city, or happened.
Really? You think that was just a special Chicago thing?
I think so, you know, because we really knew these guys, because we would do what
and they promoted the heck out of you guys, all the Chicago bands.
All of them.
Yeah.
And we all did what were called freebies, where we would play at their sock hops for free, and they'd play our records.
It's not a bad deal.
Well, they got paid a lot of money to bring a band that was on the radio. And they wanted us to be on the radio.
Sure they did. Yeah, it worked for both of you.
Yep. Whatever works.
It was another time, an era when the record business was a lot different. I mean, in some ways,
they had already gone through that big payola scandal that
right
before us in the 50s.
Sure. Yeah, and that tightened things up quite a bit.
Quite a bit. So these were all like, can you come and play? We're doing a freebie in Indiana. Oh, bummer. Okay. Whatever. You know, we never made a lot of money anyway at it, because there was only teen clubs, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't like we were going to play Chicago Stadium, which we did eventually.
Did you?
Yeah. In halftime at a Harlem Globetrotters show.
Okay.
Halftime. Whatever. You know, we played the stadium.
Yeah, that's pretty neat though.
We brought Meadowlark Lemon down on stage, and he sang a song with us.
Oh, wow. That's kind of
Cool.
fun.
I can't believe
him very well. Yeah. Oh,
I can't believe I remember this stuff.
It's all coming back to you now.
Like a good dream.
Well, who would think all these years later you guys would still be performing to a lot of packed houses? I mean, look at the Cornerstones.
Well, not this
That has
summer.
been,
Not this
no,
summer.
not this summer. I know.
I think we got
But you'll-
13 canceled.
Yeah, you'll come back. It'll all come
Absolutely.
back.
I hope so. I hope I'm alive when it does. You know, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen right away. You know, but
Well, yeah,
It's-
that's why we started doing these Zoom shows, and we're actually planning a really big Zoom show coming up. We're excited about it.
Yeah, we
We
can
just
make
want
an announcement soon, very soon.
Very soon.
very soon.
Yeah.
Will you tell me first?
Yeah, absolutely. We
off
want
the
you.
air. We'll tell you off the air.
You're gonna be. We're gonna have you involved, and we're gonna
Yeah.
let you know and how everything's gonna be worked out.
I'd
But we're absolutely.
appreciate
Are you kidding
that.
me, Jim?
Sure.
And we're just finalizing, some of the details and logistics, and we're almost
There's
there.
so many
almost
logistics.
there.
I see dots all over my screen here. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be there.
Oh, it's
So-
okay. We still see you and hear you just fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're good.
Maybe it's some psychedelic stuff. I don't know.
Ooh, again? Well, not again. I thought that was just a flashback. You had me talking about the
Oh, my
60s. Oh, no.
He's back in the 60s now. Look out.
Oh,
Jim-
my God.
Jim, I wanted to ask you about the Scratch in the Sky album. Can you, because that's like an underrated, it's one of those albums that I would say underrated. I mean, it's a gem, and can you tell the viewers and the audience a little bit of background about that particular album?
That was a James Fair's production. I mean, granted, our managers took all the production accolades, but Fair's handled that pretty much himself. I mean, our first album was Sugar and Spice album. It was recorded 4-track, mono, not even stereo.
Wow.
This is before that. And we recorded it downtown on Michigan Avenue with a wonderful engineer, and I can't remember his name right this second. I probably will wake up in the middle and I go, huh? But it was great, and we did it. You know, we'd play in Wisconsin, and we'd drive home and go right to the studio and be up all night. Tom and I would be sleeping under the piano, and they'd go, "Come on, Tom, we got a vocal. Everybody, we're singing." And they'd all stand around one mic and actually sing it. And we did it in like 4 days, the album, you know, to the point where we were just adding things like, we got to get out of this place by the Animals we put on that album. If you look on, and it's supposed to be live with big crowds yelling and everything, but it's all put on later. And it was all like dubbed in. But
You're giving away all the secrets.
I know. It doesn't matter anymore. I never got a royalty. Either did Tom Duty. So I mean,
Oh, isn't that something?
Isn't it something?
Not right.
But you mentioned the harmonies in the Cryan Shames.
Oh, a lot of those, and those started from the get-go, and the album you're talking about, the Scratch in the Sky album, was recorded in New York City at great expense because it took us 110 hours in the studio.
Wow.
In the studio. And so we would fly into New York on a Monday because we'd work on the weekends in the Midwest. We'd fly to New York on a Monday and go into the studio that night, and because nighttime is cheaper, and we'd work from 8 to 8 in the studio. And I mean, they would work. I mean, I was just playing tambourine and occasional background vocals and stuff, sleeping in the hallway. And so were our managers, producers. They were sleeping in the hallway too while Ferris was getting all these sounds and everything. We played every instrument on that record. I mean, there was nobody coming in and playing our stuff. I was the only one that ever played horn, so I did the lead in Up on the Roof, the thong, 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 on a French horn that I'd never played, but this arm fit right up the bell perfectly. So 92 takes later,
Wow.
92, it takes my bloody lip, and Ferris goes, okay, I think we got it. Because we played every instrument on that, and even to the point where he played bagpipes.
Wow. Who played bagpipes?
James Ferris.
Oh, wow.
He played, well,
He's quite a talented fellow, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, and he had all kinds. He had Elizabethan lute. You know, it's a stringed instrument. He had all these stringed instruments. They'd be laying around on stage, and I'd be tripping over them, breaking them. It was he just keep bringing guitars and stuff, and he'd pick up something. And he was just musical. He was 16 when he was doing Sugar and Spice.
Wow.
You know, and making the leads and handing out the harmonies, and you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And we'd sit around and we'd rehearse like crazy all the time.
Jesus. It's amazing.
Vision.
Yeah.
Well,
I was still drawing stick men, you know, at the age of 16. You know, I mean, here are you guys in a studio, teenagers, young, and arranging these songs and recording these songs and the layers and the harmonies and you know, I mean that
is pretty amazing.
That's a pretty
it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and even when you asked Jim Peterick, you know, from the Ides, you know, what was he'd say, James Ferris, the harmonies of the Shames. That's what we listened to all the time.
Right.
That's all we
I've
wanted
heard him
to
say
do.
it.
Yeah. That's all we wanted to be like. We wanted to sing like the Shames. You know?
And it's amazing. It's timeless. It's really timeless. You know.
And then our live show was very energetic when everybody else was just standing there, you know, playing. And Tom and I are doing our dance routines and throwing microphones across the stage, and tambourines would be crossing in the air, you know, and I'd throwing tambourines 25 feet in the air. And
wow.
And we were very energetic. The front guys, you know,
Are there any videos of you doing that kind of stuff on
very
YouTube?
little. I did get a whole batch of photos from 67 or 60.
I would love to see some for the Dick Biondi film.
Just photos. They're just photos because there was
okay.
I mean, you had had your little brownie camera at that time.
Oh wow!
Oh gosh!
I remember when we first got a cassette deck. I have them in my computer someplace.
Oh well, why don't you send me a few and I'll see if we can use them.
Yeah, it's from a private party we did in Springfield or St. Louis, I think.
Well, Jim, it looks like our time is up. I can't believe it.
I just got the damn thing hooked up. What? I want to talk.
Oh man.
We'll have to do it again, Jim.
Absolutely.
I'd love to. Thank you guys.
We really enjoyed talking with you. This is great.
We really wish the film the best of luck.
I know you.
You have to go to the dickbeyondifilm.com and get on board.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. It was great seeing you and talking with you, my friend.
Seeing you. Last time I saw you, I think was at the Arcada.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was at the
down in that pit they call a dressing room. you know,
the green room.
Yeah, the green room.
Green, purple, whatever you threw up the night before. It was, you know, Ron Onesti telling us we're going to play there this year. I go, I'm not sure I want to be in that room with 18 old men. You know, these days, you know.
You know you love it.
There's only one bathroom in that room.
You know what? Actually, he remodeled the whole Arcata, you know.
I hope he did the dressing area. I know he did the upstairs VIP and everything, and he's such a hard worker.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's big time. He's big time.
Jim, thank you so much. Everybody that's out there watching, I hope you enjoyed our little interview with Jim and hope you learned some things.
They might know me. They might know me as Hooke. So,
okay.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care what they call me.
JC Hooke.
Yeah, JC Hooke. Jesus Christ,
Gotcha.
Hooke. That's where it came from.
I was wondering. I wasn't sure I was going to ask, but thanks.
When I got that big hook made, when this guy made it for me, he was a professor at the Art Institute, and the John Brown's Leather Works in Old Town. I hung out with John Brown all the time, and he made all the capes for David Crosby and the Byrds. If you look at their album covers, he made all. And one day I came in there, and he goes, "Look what I got!" It's like 2.5 pound hook, barbed hook that's sharpened to an unbelievable sharpness. He could shave with it. He said, "Now I'll make a sleeve for it." And he made me a leather sleeve and everything. And he dragged me all around Old Town and showed it off. And
how cool is that?
But I started stabbing everybody by accident in the group because we were all over the stage. I hit myself right in the forehead one time. Yeah, I had to have it honed down so it wasn't so sharp. And that's where...
That's a weapon.
Jesus Christ, Hooke. That's JC Hooke. So that's my name, JC Hooke with an E. So,
I'll tell you what, we get the most interesting stories on this show. I'm telling you, we get some really cool stuff. That's fascinating.
Well, I asked the other guys that were bleeding.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can play anymore. I cut my hand on your hook. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll put it away.
Oh, that's cute. All right, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show. And Joe, as always, thanks for being such a great co-host. And Jim, again, thank you.
Pam Joe, thank you.
Take care, everybody. Mwah. Be good.
Bye.
Be safe.
Thank you, everybody.